anyway, that's what we have as the offering, and I'm just kicking off the YouTube now after that introduction. Anyway, guys, this is the live analysis here, and we'll go through the process here, looking at the markets, and let's go through. We'll go through the disclosure here, and then we'll jump in and look at the S&P E-mini. All Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let's jump in here. Let's take a look and see what's going on. All right, so really interesting stuff I saw earlier here in the S&P E-mini. Look at the block of liquidity down here, okay, pre-market here before the 9:30 cash open, and then at the open as well. Good morning, Alan. Let's see here. Oh, okay. All right, so everything's working for you. That's good. All right, guys. Well, this is something to highlight. Okay, this is not normal behavior. Okay, this liquidity in here that you see, okay, this big block here. Let me get my pen tool out. All right. This block here, and then they pulled, interestingly enough, as price was coming down, they pulled maybe in here again, but it looks like they got filled in these areas here. So let's zoom in and let's check this out, okay, because this is important. Like I said, you don't see this too often in the S&P E-mini, so we want to understand these details. All right, so this is tons of limit buy orders on the bid here, okay, and they're bidding up, in fact. So you can see them all coming in here. These guys came in first, and then others came in after, all the way down to this 38.30. Okay, so 5 points of pretty high liquidity. Look across the whole range here. Now, interestingly enough, see the large lot tracker in here? Let me show you this. See the white line in here? Okay, that's our large lot tracker algo. It comes with the Bookmap Global Plus. It is showing you that this is likely one individual actor. Now it could be a few, but somebody, there's for sure one individual actor at some of these price level, at many of these price levels, providing liquidity. Okay, they want to be buyers. Right, and you can see when they're the same in here, like these two up here are the same. It is likely that you know, this is the larger player. Now let's see their behavior as we go through here. Zoom out a little bit, and price comes down to them, and what happens? They yank their orders. Okay, they pulled it away. So this was like a spoof in essence, like and quite a big one. Because they didn't trade. They pulled the liquidity away from the market. So, you know, they did not have the intent to trade here. And they never took really any risk to be able to do that. I mean, their orders were in the market, and they're at risk if someone trades really quickly into them, but likely they would pull anyway. All right, so anyway, you can see the pull, and then look when price came back in, and here's the spoof again. Okay, they're not getting filled here. Okay, that's why I'm calling it a spoof or spoofing type of activity, because they're not trading. There's an aggressor who is lifting it, lifting the offer here, and these guys here are basically following up underneath, but they're not getting filled. All right, and they're pulling as soon as price comes up here. Okay, so this is you know, kind of this behavior here is what this player or larger players are doing here, and that's why we said it's likely one individual actor in here, and who knows what their game is. But let's look at this liquidity here around this 32. It is starting to transact in there. Some of it was pulled, some of it transacts. Okay, and it comes down, and they did get filled here at 30. Okay, now that was longer term liquidity in here. We already knew that. That had kind of been in even before the this big block of liquidity. Right, so interesting behavior, and then that's our 9:30 cash open. So they did get filled here at 30, and then we see price went lower down into this kind of 22-ish area, and then we see the aggressors come in hand over fist. Okay, can you guys see that distinction in here? All right, look at the buyers come in. Look how they're breaking structure. Now we've got a few different things to take a look at in here. Okay, now we're gonna talk about this because it's really important to see this. In fact, let's just zoom out a little bit more. It's really important to see this. When you see this type of behavior in here, I believe it lends an edge because you can see that this is a lot of buying pressure. Okay, it's distinctive. Okay, look at the selling pressure here. That's pretty distinctive. Look at the pullback. Okay, guys, we talk about these things all the time about understanding the aggressor and the relationship of the liquidity and price structure. It's these three elements we want to understand. At 9:40, just after 9:40, the sellers came in and hit the bid hard, and then we see a pullback here, which is pretty strong pullback as well. Okay, we would look for a full pullback maybe to about here on back at 40, where it kind of dropped. It didn't make it quite there. It came back to, in fact, you can even see it in the structure here. See the swing here? Let's just draw a line there. Okay, that's where it came back and traded. And then a beautiful little order flow kind of reversal in here, or by the aggressors here. When we talked about this yesterday in yesterday's webinar, on this first leg here, we see some buyers. We don't see any buyers in here anymore. We don't see any buyers up here, okay, or very little here. And now we're looking for sellers down here, and we don't quite get them until a little bit lower actually, and then they really start to pick up. Okay, the selling really picks up, and then you can see the move and the follow through to the downside. But we would be looking for that. Okay, we'd be looking for those aggressors, and we'd be looking for them to take it back down to at least here or here, because this is where those moves initiated on the buy side, and the buyers don't show up. Sellers take it through. Here's the pullback here to the top of the or the bottom of this range here. It just pulls back to there, and it continues on down. All right, so now what we're going through is just understanding these bigger moves by the aggressors, and we look for that continuation of the trend. Here's where we see the distinction. Okay, we start to see it in here. See the buyers coming in here. Look at this down here. Sellers here, back and forth. Here's a retest of the bottom, and we don't see too many sellers here. We see buyers here. Okay, this is beginning to, it breaks this smaller structure, this swing here at 26. So it doesn't break this one here. All right, we come back down, or price comes back down. It just kind of breaches the low here, but look at the buying come in. Look at the strength of this buying compared to the selling over in here. Okay, selling's pretty good here, but it's not so great here. Okay, there's a lot more buying here. Okay, it would be more in comparison this to maybe this selling here or here, right? And it's even stronger. Okay, you can see it in the bars, you can see it in the dots and the color, right? So now the buyers have taken control of the market. Look at the pullback. The pullback kind of comes to, kind of this little, let's draw the line in here. Now this is in hindsight, of course, and it comes to this area here. I would first look for it to bounce off of this one here. In fact, it did right here. Okay, so what we're talking about here is we're starting to understand the market structure. and the mechanics here, or who's in control in these areas here. And we see the buyers take control. Now, do the sellers come back in and take control and drive it back down into these lows in here? No, they don't. In fact, we get more buyers, more buyers, more buyers. We look for a breakout, and we look for the breakout to come back to here or here, okay, where these sellers initially came in and took the market down. Now the buyers just mow right through that in this case. Okay, we did get a little bit of a pause up here at this kind of 38 area, and then up at 40, it just goes right through it. Well, you can see it kind of retest the backside of it here, and then continues on up. All right, so the big point here to understand, and you can still see more buying coming in, right? So we're still looking for this to go higher, but the big point here is to see that distinction in the price action, and once you can start to see that, you can look for retracements and those buyers to come back in again. All right, and then we look for some of these swings in here as maybe targets, or high liquidity as targets. Like this is high liquidity here, the transaction into it, high liquidity here, the transaction into it. All right, now we left off yesterday, so let me show this because I want you guys to take a look at this from yesterday. I took a screenshot. And where we left off, right? We left off, let's see here. This is 1 o'clock here. This is 12. So around in here, we kind of left off, I believe, around 11:30-ish or so, right? So we saw these move. We saw this move to the upside. We saw this move to the downside. We were looking for that, and we were looking for continuation in the trend to the downside. And then we left off before 12 o'clock here, so around 11:30, so around in here. And we were looking for that move into this 38.50, and we got it. And we're still looking for lower, right? Look at the back and forth in here, though. And it just went like this for until around 1:30 or so, 1:40 or something like that. Then the sellers finally came in. All right, now if this is in review of yesterday's webinar, so let me show you where that webinar is if you want to rewatch it or put the pieces together. Go to YouTube, and go to the Bookmap homepage there. And then here it is here. We covered time and sales and scalps versus swing trades. This is the webinar here. So might want to watch that one because what we're talking about is the same, or the follow through after that move. But look at the distinction in here too. Like this area in here, we can understand how we could be duped by this in here in the order flow, because we traded into 38.50, and this pattern in here, you see shoulder, head, and shoulder, and buyers here, here, and here, right? So let me get that pen out again. Okay, so and we do see the buyers in here, and here, right? But look at this again. They did not come up and make a new high here. Even though you see this head and shoulder and you're thinking, wow, it's a head and shoulder reversal, it's going to come up this way, right? Don't be duped by it. The structure is still held, right? In fact, this is a failed head and shoulders here. Okay? And you can see the continuation, the back and forth in here. Now, what we're looking for in here is, do we see more sellers in some of these areas? A little bit. Okay, it's really back and forth in here, so it's kind of hard to determine. And then here's the last gasp here by the buyers, and they still failed. They even failed. Not only here, let's just draw this up. Not only did they fail to make it to this swing here, also this swing here. Okay, now they just barely got above that one and it failed, right? So it's making lower highs. And if they can't make it here, we look for the selling on the other side, and then we look for the retest back down to this area, and then high liquidity, well, which pulled here, but the high liquidity is down here. Beautiful move into that, right? So, and that was for the rest of the day, basically. And then it bounced here at the end of the day, right? So again, what we're talking about in the order flow can be applied to these higher time frames. Just take a look at the price structure and the liquidity and the volume within it. Anyway, guys, let's we'll continue on here with the live auction. I just wanted to show that, and look again here and look at how distinctive this is. Can you see that difference here? Okay, this is where you have an edge. Looking for pullbacks, looking for continuation of this this strong buying here until you see something different. Okay, and we just talked about this. Until we see something different still. Okay, strong buying, pullback, some selling, you know, not bad, but again, buyers come in again, and then buyers come in again here. Okay, so do we still see selling in here? Okay, no. Right, there's some selling here. It's a full, almost a full retracement here. It's come back down into this area here. Now we'll go through the other side. We're bullish until we see something different. However, let's go first off, go through the bullish scenario. Bullish scenario is here. We're looking for buyers above this kind of 56. We're looking for green dots. First stop would be maybe up to where it dropped from on the sell side, or up in here into 60 liquidity. Okay, so that would be the primary scenario we're looking for, and so far so good, right? That's what we're looking for. Now we got to go through the other scenario though. What happens if this doesn't work out? All right, and what that would look like here is these buyers cannot lift it up into these areas. We start to see big red dots, and we'd be looking for them down here, okay, at the bottom edge here. And if we do get that, then we look for them to try to take this market lower and have all of these guys over here get stopped out, likely down into these areas here. All right, and we'd be looking for that 38.50 again that we just covered from yesterday. Okay, so these are the scenarios we're looking for in the order flow, and this will help you look for potential trade opportunities and then also potential targets. Okay, so our scenario here with the big red dots did not unfold, and we still remain bullish. Okay, now it's up to you. If you want to take your profit up here, I probably would take some off here and try to hold the rest with my stop now at break even. Okay, this would probably be a little bit better, but it's above the swing up here in this liquidity at 60. This is usually where I like to kind of look and see if maybe, you know, if I start to see a bit of a slowdown here or something, I like to take some profit there. Okay, and then hold the rest here. Now, again, you could have taken profit, some partial profit here at 60, and you're looking pretty. Okay, so let's see if we get our continuation here. All right. So anyway, guys, I hope you can see that distinction, and we would make this here that we just saw over here on the buy side, we can apply to here. We'll go through the same two scenarios. Okay, we are bullish until we see something different. Okay, and we know, let's go through what it looks like. What does something else look like that, you know, is not bullish? Okay, so it would be a retest down here and big red dots at this area here, 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 right? Taking that market down into this liquidity down here at 54. All right, and we don't see that yet. We're still bullish. So stick with the plan here. and just keep on looking for this to continue higher. All right, so anyway, I hope you guys found that helpful. Let's come back here. Oh yeah, okay, Trader Map Pro. Ben, you want to take a look at that? Sure. And guys on Discord, I definitely want to get over there and answer any of your questions here. So let's see. No questions at this time. Okay, looking good. All right, guys. So anyway, so what has been helpful in this webinar here is understanding the aggressor's behavior in the price structure. Okay, and that's a pretty simple thing to look for, and we can see it very distinctively today. Okay, we just went through the whole process of down here, and then and we saw it in here, and we're still bullish, and we're still bullish, right? And nothing has changed here. Okay, we go through the opposite scenario, and they just didn't unfold. Okay, so primary scenario is still to the upside, and we can also now take this same idea and same concepts here. We're going to take to the bigger picture and look at our candlestick charts here. Okay, so look at our 15-minute candlestick chart here. Okay, very strong move here to the upside, very strong in this 15-minute chart. Now it's come up above this swing, and we just looked at that 38.60. Okay, yeah, I would definitely be taking some profit up here. Okay, no question. This is a strong move, and these swings up here is where we found the sellers yesterday. All right, so that's a good move to take some off and then move the stop up to break even and try to get a runner out of here. Still strong move. Maybe let's look at the hour chart. This is the 15-minute chart. Here's the hour chart here in the middle. Okay, still looking for, we see the strong move the last couple of hours. Well, if we're looking for continuation, we're looking for the move up here, 38.82, somewhere around up in here in this swing. And that would be the next level. So it's about 20 points away. What about the daily here? Well, the daily was interesting. Yesterday we were just looking for continuation, and we covered all this in the daily here. In fact, look at the overnight, guys. That webinar yesterday went through all of these scenarios in here, and we were looking for continuation yesterday to the top of these wicks in here back on October, and the reason why is well, let's just go through the momentum to the downside first on the daily. Once we started to clear these areas in here, and we had, then we're looking for continuation and buyers getting out of the way until someplace down here. Now, we talked about yesterday, like maybe around this, I think around 45 or 50 or so, somewhere here would be our first area, which unfolded during the webinar. And then the next level was about here, and I do recall saying 38, not 16, but 11. Okay, I said 38.11 or so. Okay, so we came down there, and now we're bouncing, and it makes sense. Okay, now momentum is still to the downside in the bigger picture on the daily. Okay, but right now the momentum is strong to the upside. Okay, on the hourly it's pretty strong here, and on this 15-minute. But recall, we are still in this downtrend here. Okay, in the last like week or so. So that is one of the reasons why I would be taking my partial profit up here around this. I got out. Would have said I would have gotten out around this 59 area or so, something like that, right? And maybe we'll get a flip or a switch here in the order flow. But right now we still stick with the buying pressure until we see something different. All right, so I hope that makes sense. Bigger picture, hourly, 15-minute, hourly, daily, and then where we're looking for based on the price structure, because we don't have liquidity on this higher time frame picture. We don't even have the aggressors. We have the volume only in a subchart down here. So this is really very opaque view of what's going on, but we're just looking at price structure basically. Okay, and then the strength of the move and the candles, basically those two elements, and wicks. Anyway, so this has been a nice move to the upside. We'll see if we can continue on, maybe a bounce off of maybe somewhere around in 58 or so, 57, 58, and then maybe continuation on up. That would be one scenario. All right, so maybe we just chop around in here for a little bit until later in the afternoon. Okay, so just going through the scenarios again, book some profit here, and then try to hold that runner. All right, so let's see here, guys. Okay, no, I'm looking Seva and Uli. No questions in the Discord channel at the moment. And let's see questions over here in YouTube. Yeah, Hattie, we'll get into more. We're going to get into the details here, much more. We're just giving kind of the bigger picture overviews. And let's see here. Could this be the Santa rally? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't even really think about it too much. I'm just looking to see if these basically just going through these scenarios and just reading the order flow. I'm not really. If we see more and more buyers come in, great. I mean, maybe you can define it as the Santa rally, but I'm just looking for that continuation until we see something different, right? And that's it. And maybe I mean, we're starting to see. I mean, they just traded up into this high liquidity at 65, and they're still buying pressure. So maybe back to 70, or here 68 and 70 here, next levels. We're starting to see some selling come in though. Okay, we see it a little bit in here, some in here, and a little bit in here. But we're still bullish until we see that difference here, that distinction. Let's see. Let me get to a few more of your questions here, and then Ben will get to the Trader Map Pro here, which is awesome. I really like it. What are the iceberg? We'll go over the icebergs as well and the metrics there. Hovering over the volume bars is not giving you the details on the volume bars. Okay, it only says bid here. If you hover over the volume bar, see how it says bid, and then below that it says volume. Okay, guys, so look at this here right now. Here's our buying into high liquidity. Here's our retests, and we didn't find many buyers. We found sellers here. Okay, so let's see, maybe we can get a retest back to here to 64, and then and let's see if we get exhaustion on the buy side, and then sellers come in again. Okay, it looks like it. Okay, all right, sellers, let's see if you can take this down now to well, the next level of liquidity, maybe 60 or this kind of 59 area here. Okay, so we're starting to see, I wouldn't say a trend change, but it's turning from a strong upward market to more of a sideways market, as you guys can see. Okay, and we notice the distinction in real time here, right here. Okay, high liquidity buyers, not too many buyers, not too many buyers. Exhaustion. This is what exhaustion looks like. See the red tip up here? There's no buying on that best offer. The red line is the best offer. Okay, and there was no one buying up there. We see the sellers come in and they break the structure. See the change here. See the shift. Okay, and once we saw that, and once we saw this cluster of selling here, we're like, wow, okay, still strong buying. Likely we'll get a pullback to here. 64 is what we said. Then we're looking for the sellers to come in again, trade back down to the 62, and then follow through to 59. Okay, that has all unfolded now. And that's exactly what we are looking for. All right. So again, just understanding the order flow here by the price structure and the volume and the liquidity also here gave us some good insight. Okay, and here gave us some good insight. All right, guys, I don't know if I can go through it much clearer than that. I mean, please tell me or ask me if you want to go through it again. But these, if you can kind of put these pieces together here, you've got an edge. You've got an edge reading the behavior of other traders here in the order flow. All right, so and go through it again and again. Now, if you need to look at, like, you know, some kind of, I wouldn't say technical analysis, right? But just some structure in the market, then do so. Like, for example, some line segments, okay, here. Okay, mark them up, mark it up. Some other line segments in here. We can look at a trend line, right? Or a price channel here. And if you need, if that helps you, then do it. We're talking here more about price structure, and here we look for, I mean, the trend should continue, right? You'd look for the move back up to here. Well, we didn't see it. They tried here, they couldn't do it. They tried again here and they couldn't do it. That's when they broke this trend line, and you can even see the retracement kind of to the back of the trend line here, right? At 64. Right? So anyway, you can also use this these structural elements in here to give you kind of a little bit of a guiding picture here, or a guideline, I would say, and that should be helpful. Now again, let's just zoom out and let's look at this here. Okay, so strong buying all the way through, as we discussed, and then up in here starting to see, you know, something change here, but that change is not a trend reversal yet. Okay, it's just more kind of maybe a transition into sideways market. Okay, we don't still know like who's taking control of this market at this time. All right, so let's go through that part as well. Here's who's in control. Well, buyers. They are still in control. Okay, in this bigger picture here, we would have to see a lot of selling down below here, 54. Now that doesn't mean that you can't trade it down to 54. Maybe this is more like a mean reversion trade, or maybe it's a reversal trade. All right, so and what I mean by mean reversion is back into previous averages. All right, so maybe high volume nodes. Okay, so let's see here now. Now that's the kind of this medium time frame picture after 1020. Well, you can make the argument back down here actually when it started around this was what, 950. Okay, that's really when this move unfolded here. Okay, so now let's see what is unfolding here on a smaller time frame. This is where the sellers start to take control here. Okay, that's what we're going to go through now and compare it. So we just came up here and we saw a little bit of buying but sellers take it right back down. I imagine we'll trade back down to 58 here, and maybe through it here. Now, sellers would be in control. They are in control from this small time frame, 1040 onwards. Okay, and there's our move. Okay, and it's you know, it's not going to be an easy. It's going to be a fight here because there's a lot of buying pressure still in here. Okay, from these other previous periods. Okay, this is really getting messy, so let's clear it. Okay, and start to look for that clarity again. All right, so yeah, all right, so they traded down to 58 here, and that liquidity. Okay, now they're still in control, right? Now let's go through a couple different scenarios in this price structure. Okay, maybe if we get back up to the top here and we see buyers come back in, they're going to attack for the high here, most likely. And where these sellers came in, okay, in this little area in here. All right, now if they can't muster that, and we start to exhaust out on the buy side, which we are, and we're looking for a sell cluster here. Do we see it? Yeah, it's doing it. Okay, they should test the low, and let's see if they can break it. And I like this area here, but the liquidity is really down here at around this 54.5. So yeah, that would be the next level here. Okay. Yeah, I do like this little area here as well, at 57. And I'm looking at where they broke out from here, and it's this little zone in here, right around this 57. Okay, because this is where sellers came in, this is where buyers took it back up. All right, so anyway, the point is here of looking for who's in control in these areas and where price might go. Okay, based on the aggressors in here and their ability to trade into and through liquidity. Oh, thanks, Jay. I really appreciate it. Yeah, give me a thumbs up if you can here in YouTube. It's very, very helpful for us. All right, so now you can see the buyers starting to come in. Okay, they haven't given up this battle yet. Okay, so sellers in control, but they're being tested. Okay, now let's see if the buyers have what it takes. Okay, now this is pretty nice little volume in here, but we need to see it up here to break 62.5. Okay, let's see if we get it here. All right, buyers, they're doing it, so we should get a move back up into 65 here. Let's see if they can do that. Okay, and then they'll test these sellers that took control on this small time frame here. Okay, now see, look at the fight here. Now, is this high probability? Not really, right? I don't think this battle is finished here. All right, so I would stay away from this in here. We're just looking to see what scenario is going to unfold. Okay, we're looking for real clarity in here, and that kind of clarity that we saw down here. Okay, that kind of clarity that we saw yesterday as well in the webinar, and it's hard to deny that kind of clarity. And stay away from this kind of stuff in here because it doesn't look that distinctive. We don't know who's really got the market in control, right? So this is what we want to determine for a higher probability trade. We don't have anything in the order book, in fact, here that's helping us either. We just have high liquidity here and high liquidity up here at 64. 57, 64. All right, so anyway, we just made it above the swing and sellers coming in. So it looks like sellers, they want to test the low here, but yeah, it's yeah, I don't see anything really clear. Right here, there is some selling here. There's some selling here. It just auctioned there. this is kind of an important factor to understand in the auction. Okay, it also auctioned up here though too. Okay, so if it fails to auction at an area like the exhaustion that we saw up here, that gives us clarity, right? And then we see the selling coming in. So if it auctions up here, I mean, yeah, we can make the failed breakout here and make the case for the stop run, but it can still come back up here and auction again. Okay? It can still come down here and auction again, 58. Okay, so we don't really have that clarity right now. Okay, so what do? Nothing. And that would be my kind of takeaway. Okay, so we had a similar setup last December where they moved 250 points in a week after they sold OPEX and the day after OPEX. That makes sense. Yeah, maybe we'll get that. Guys, thanks for the boost to confidence in here. Really appreciate that. Let me get back to these other questions. I promised to for Ben and let's see, Joe, did I answer your question? I'm getting the size liquidity when I place my cursor. Oh, okay. Yeah, you should. I mean, if you place to the left of the vertical white line here, the historical liquidity here, you should see it down in the bottom left hand corner, or if you use this rollover tooltip, it says there, like on the bid 145, you get the date and the time and then what was on the bid at that price level. All right. Okay, so Ben, I think I'll answer your questions here about what the iceberg metrics mean and how can you use it. All right, let's go through that question first, and then we'll get to the Trader Map Pro. All right, well, let's see here. Well, first off, we'll just describe, I'm going to go kind of not a really long-winded route here, because actually I've got to end the webinar in about 5 minutes. Guys, I'm sorry, I'd have to make it a short one today. I have another session here later, or at 11 East Coast time. So yeah, I like this. I see how it's auctioning. It auctioned here. It's auctioning here still auctioning here on the offer. Now here we just had some exhaustion. Okay, so watch these sellers. They'll take it down here, and they'll take it down quickly, and retest some of these areas here. This is kind of like a go light here for sellers to take it back down. Here it is again, right? Well, and you'll see them do this. Like if it cannot auction here, watch it auction to the other side. This is how you can use exhaustion. Okay, this is exhaustion up here many times over, and here as well. Okay, and very little trading up there at the top, very tip. Okay, so then you can see these sellers come in and retest down here. Okay, now found buyers down here. It's coming back up. Now it's going to auction here, I bet. Let's see. If it does, okay, now the buyers can take it up to here, 64, 65, 66. All right, and there we go. There's 64. Now it's a strong move. Still looking for it to go higher. Now let's zoom out though. Let's get our bigger picture approach here. Not get too excited. Yeah, we need to see the auction up here, not here. Okay, it's a good start, but we need to see the buyers up here, okay, for this to break out. So it's a good start. Now can they continue and get back up above 65 here? Looks good. Looks pretty good. Now we're not there yet. Okay, and you know, we got to wait for it here. Anyway, let's look at some of the stops and icebergs, and we'll go through it. I think quickly and concisely. Who's using a stop order? Okay, for the most part, it is retail traders, and they're using it to protect their position as a stop loss. Now, I use them also for entering positions. Like maybe I'll buy or sell the breakdown here. I'll place a sell stop for entry down here. Yeah, sure. But for the most part, it's people getting stopped out, and you'll see the stop runs. Like this is a stop run right here. Okay, a nice one. Well, it's not that big of a stop run. 2362 on up to I'm sorry, 2361 on up to 2400. So it's not that much, it's not that many, but it is a stop run. There are stops in here, put it that way. You know, if we see a massive stop run, okay, now it's not that big, but if you see a massive stop run, well, let's kind of determine what do those stops mean. Those mean that people are exiting the market. So all of that buying up in here that you see is people exiting the market. Okay, now it might come back up and break out and go, you know, a million points to the upside, whatever. However, it's kind of like it's not new buying. Okay, now it might come back and be new buying. Okay, like this is new buying in here. Now, interestingly enough, this is new buying into an iceberg order. Okay, now who's using an iceberg order? Okay, larger players. Okay, because they don't want to show their liquidity in the order book here. So this makes sense here. This is one way to use it, is start to understand that, okay, these were stops. Wow, someone's absorbing here with icebergs on the other side, and we can determine how many. It's not bad. It's like over 100, or it's a couple hundred or so. After a stop run. Okay, now looking for the aggressors to come in on the sell side and potentially drop it back down into these lower levels here. Okay, so just because we see big green dots up in here, well, it just meant, and did price move? Not really, right? It just kind of moved. We see a bit of a stop run, but also this absorption from a iceberg order in here. Okay, so we're putting together in context and seeing way more in terms of transparency that we might get this move down to 50, 57 or so here. Okay, which is unfolding really nicely by understanding a nuance in here. Now these are not signals in here. It is a confluence to understand that, understand who's using these order types, and if we can put that together also in the price structure here, that will lead us to like potential moves like this to this 57. All right, so that's one way, one scenario to use them. There are many scenarios, anyway, just understand who's using these types of orders. Now we're seeing the same thing on the opposite side here. Okay, so maybe we'll get a pullback to here, to 60 or 60 and a quarter here. Okay, because we see someone's on the other side absorbing the stop run here. Okay, so maybe we can get a move back up and just a pullback now, that just up to here. We're not looking for a huge move. All right, and now that, again, I don't like to lean on the stops here fully. Okay, we really need to see like some buying in here lift this order. This is what is important, I think, with the stops and icebergs, is it is a confluence. It is not a signal, right? So we want to read the order flow first, and then if we get this on top of that here, then we've got something strong, All right, so you can see like order flow would have kept us away from looking for that pullback to 60. Okay, because we didn't get the buyers. They didn't even break the structure here. Okay, we see some buying in here, but there's more selling than there is buying. That would have kept us away from it. Okay, now, so don't be duped by it in here. Now we can also position though. Okay, and now we can look for this move into 60. Because why? Because this is still the case that the icebergs were in here. Okay, they purchased in this area in here. Okay, so where are they going to be in profit? Well, above here, and then back to 60. Okay, now do we have something in the order flow to tell us that? It's okay. The buying is okay. It's not the greatest in here, but maybe we can get, if we see buying come back up to this 57, then we'd be looking for it. Okay, and we look for those bigger green dots up here around 57 and a half or so. All right, so that's one way. Now the Trader Map Pro is a really interesting product. I'll go over that, and then I've got to end the webinar. This is free right now, included with Global Plus, but it is part of the MBO package with stops and icebergs, and it makes complete sense that it should be, because the stops and icebergs only work on CME group instruments with rhythmic data. The same with the Trader Map Pro. All right, I like it here now. The exhaustion here, trying to find those buyers along with the correlation or the confluence here. So I'm looking for the move to this 58.5, and then the potential break into 60 up here. Okay, there it is, and still looking for continuation here on the buy side. Big green dots here. Okay, so we're looking for a continuation here up into about 60. All right, so again, just simple reads in here, and we have our confluence is over here, and it didn't really, well, we didn't have a confluence yet at that point in the order flow. We have a confluence here now in the order flow. Okay, so anyway, that's what I'd be looking for. This one's failing to break out. Okay, it's still in an uptrend from here, but it's failing to break out. Okay, it kind of popped its head above. We still might get it here, for example, but it's just not as high probability. Okay, it was looking pretty good in here, and we still might get it here. Right, that's why I drew in the trend line here. I put a little structure on it, and we can look for now. Yeah, looks good. All right, guys, Trader Map Pro, let's go through that. This is a fantastic product to be able to filter the heat map. Okay, so let's turn it on, and we'll look at the ES here. I'll create one, and I'm going to add a new filter called order size filter, and I'm going to filter for, let's say 10 or above, 10 and above. Okay, so order sizes have to be over 10 up to 1,000, and I'm going to filter for that. And here it is over here, Trader Map Pro. Okay, and the icebergs cannot show, it cannot display icebergs, because I filtered them out. So hold on a minute here. Let me take the icebergs off of this one. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that ought to kill it. Okay, all right, so now you can see like up here 49, okay, and then it's 60, 12, whatever. So this is where at the spread is huge on these, because it's showing me only where there's 10 or more orders, or a volume, an order with a volume of 10 or more. Okay, so we're truly filtering for larger players here, okay, and where their liquidity is. This can really be helpful. So we're looking at the nuances. Let's just pop this out here. Okay, right click on it and it'll pop it out. And then let's go back to this ES here. Okay, so here's our Trader Map Pro, and we'd be looking for well, let's zoom out a little bit more. The high liquidity is down here, 50, or here at 60. Right, so that gives us more insight now. So we're looking here at our ES, our regular, I'm sorry, this is the NQ. Where's our regular ES? Hold on. Where'd it go? Oh, here's our regular ES. Where's our Trader Map Pro? I popped them both out. Okay, that's what I did. Hold on a minute, guys. Sorry about that. Here it is. Okay. All right, so here's our Trader Map Pro here. High liquidity at 50 or up here at 60. That's about it, right? Or up here at 70, right? So that's what that's where the larger players are with their higher orders in here, right? And we can now look at that in terms of order flow on the S&P E-mini regular chart here. Okay, so you know the 60 up here is not really a lot of larger players. They're up here at 70 and 80. All right, so then you know you can look to hold once you know, if you're in a position or you're looking to get into position, look for these areas as targets because these are where the larger players are dealing. All right, so if we get, let's go through a scenario in here. If we get sellers down here at this 54 area, I'm looking for a break into 50. As simple as that. Okay, so and I would be looking for it to happen pretty quickly, in fact. So it's starting to kind of unfold here. Okay, now this is based off of the Trader Map Pro. All right, looking good. Let's see it sellers a little bit lower here, a little bit lower, more selling, and then we're looking for the move into 50. All right, as simple as that. Okay, this is it's doing all the work and the filtering for us here, because we're assuming it's going to trade where the larger players are. This is like larger player liquidity. It's like a magnet. Okay, so we're looking for the move here to 50. Make sense? Guys, if you're interested in this, the Trader Map Pro, let me show you where it is. Okay, go to bookmap.com. Click on the More button here. You can go to the knowledge base here, or you can go to the marketplace. Let's just go to the knowledge base here, and then we'll go to the add-ons section here. Okay, not the user guide, but the add-ons. All right, and then all the add-ons are listed here in the left margin. Here's Trader Map Pro down here. You can click on that, and you can read about it. There's a video here. You can download it here, and like I said, it's free right now with Global Plus. So try it out, because in the future it will be part of the MBO bundle. All right, which will include stops and icebergs. All right, guys, so let's see, do we get in our move? Yeah, so far so good. Still looking for the move into 50, as simple as that. All right, not a trade recommendation. It's just an order flow reading, and that's the direction we feel, or the order flow is telling us right now. Okay, just by reading this here. Okay, and there's our move. All right, so anyway, guys, we'll end it on that. Tomorrow we'll have JTrader, but we'll go through the S&P for the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so, and then JTrader will come in, and then we'll go through stocks and live trading with him. Let me see if there's any questions in here I can get to. Guys, please hit the like button if you like this. We went through a lot of stuff in here today, and I hope I answered your questions. Yeah, Luke, I like it. The uh, Get the bigger players that trade most of the volume will treat us to a nice steak dinner. Um, yeah, just I look at this and it's still going lower here. Look for 47, look for 45, right? It's looking pretty good. Um, but be prepared for the other scenarios. Just that's what I would really highly recommend. Oh, thanks, Jay. I really appreciate it. Um, yeah, yeah. All the support in here is just great, and we love supporting you guys with as high a quality education as we can. Tom B will be up next, so he'll start in about 15 or 20 minutes. Look for his webinar and go through volume profile in order flow. All right. So, all right. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. We'll catch up tomorrow. And yeah, you got Doug after Tom B, and then you've got Algo Boys after Doug. All right. So that should be yeah. Scott Pulsini, he'll be there on Thursday. Luke. We'll see you guys then. I'll say hi to him. All right. Okay. Take care, everybody. Have a good day.